Hi, it's Leslie Meredith with Breakbulk Events and Media. Here we are in Rotterdam, and I have Dennis Devlin with us, who's with DT Projects. Welcome, Dennis.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Well, great to see you. So tell us about DT Projects. That's a new one for me.
DT Project is a part of the Demotrons group, French-based out of Lyon. And DT Project is the project forwarding division therein. It's an asset-based project forwarder, so with trucks within certain regions, so including the United States. So in the United States, it's an asset-based logistics company, also with warehousing.
Okay, so how are you liking it?
It's only been this is week 4, so it's great so far. I love it. I learned French many years ago, and I speak French in work now, which is nice. I didn't use my French very often prior to that, so now I do.
Is it all coming back to you?
Yeah, never really lost it. I guess I got it to a point where it didn't
Okay.
about the same as it was. I suppose I still make mistakes, but I do okay.
All right, that's impressive.
Thank you.
All right, so let's talk about projects and the market that we see ourselves in these days. It's been a lot of upheaval and changes, lots of different things in the news. Give us your take on, let's start with tariffs and trade.
I think it's exceptionally disruptive to the market, unnecessary, unhelpful, and I'm opposed. I wouldn't be opposed to certain targeted tariffs on certain commodities, semiconductors, for example. Okay, but just broad-based tariffs of the magnitude we're looking at, I think, is very disruptive, and I think it's represented by the news about a particularly large project in the north of Alberta, which I think is maybe on hold because of that.
Oh, really? Okay.
I thought I read that. No, I'm not. I don't have any inside information into it, and I could perhaps be wrong, but that's what I thought I read.
Well, it's interesting. There's, every day there seems like, there's a change or, one through another. And that brings me to the point, is it really tariffs and things associated with them? Or is it the uncertainty that's being created in the market that's more of a problem for our industry? What would you say?
Well, I think it's both. I mean, first of all, if you're going to put in tariffs at 50 or 100% of the value of the cargo, that's just extremely disruptive. Particularly when EPCs have their sources, they can change sources over time, but they can't change all of their sources overnight. In any case, they've already issued purchase order. So lots of people, and a client of mine, in fact, that I've worked with over many years, had very expensive cargo on a part charter at sea while the tariffs were introduced. That's disruptive. I find that very disruptive. So
And then what happens?
they pay duty.
And they have to pay that before.
There may have been other solutions, but you
Yeah.
paid duty. I don't think
Yeah.
there was another good solution. Lots of people are going to be putting cargo in free trade zones, but that has its limitations, particularly as it relates to 150-ton tanks and vessels and things like that. So you can create free trade zones, but that takes time. But the whole thing is, in my view, disrupted. And I think it's also going to have a negative economic impact overall, and that's going to impact the project logistics industry as much as many other industries. Automotive, for example.
What about the fees on Chinese built ships or vessels that are in a fleet that has Chinese built ships? Do you think that will impact?
I do, and I think it's unnecessarily disruptive to no real end. If we wanted to make a larger shipbuilding infrastructure in the United States, we can do so, but that takes a long period of time. You don't do that in 5 years. So what is the point of that? Ships are going to make less port calls with those ships, so it's not that they won't come to the United States, but they'll make less port calls. You wouldn't make 7 port calls if you could do it in 2. It's going to be disruptive, particularly in the container sector, right? Less so on the project breakbulk ships, but on the container sector, it's going to have a major impact. And that impacts projects because the vast majority of project cargo really is moved in containers in the end of the day. And it's going to have an impact on everything. So I find it to be super disruptive.
And what does that mean for the ports themselves?
I think it's going to be problematic for the ports. I'm not looking at it from a port perspective, but I think ports are trying to get the ships to come in, trying to get to work, get more ships, be busy. And now if ships start switching and going to make one call instead of three, or one call instead of one Gulf Coast, one East Coast port call, things like that, that's going to be disruptive to the ports as well. And the container carriers who are trying to improve their schedules are going to struggle to do that in that environment because certain ports may have ships waiting for berths, as we saw during COVID. So it's just, to my view, unnecessarily disruptive. And the amount of revenue that's generated from it, in the end of the day, is minimal. So there isn't a real good reason other than say maybe we don't like Chinese ships. But guess what? We've been using them for a long time. They're out there. They're built. They're good ships, and we need them. So the collaboration rather than confrontation is a better path forward.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's look at what do you see as sectors of opportunity for companies such as yours?
Well, we focus a lot on the energy sector, and
Okay.
the energy sector will still need to move forward because we need power. We're creating all these battery plants. We need more power. Um, Wind energy isn't going to go away regardless of what happens. So wind energy will be out there. Offshore wind, that may take a little bit of a turn uh, for a period, but it'll be back later because it's also a good source of energy. So um, the market will still continue, but there will be some changes and some disruptions, and we'll see some projects cancel, which I think is a real pity.
Because
As a because of the tariffs, I think we'll see
you do.
some product.
Okay.
Not because of the port
Right.
taxes on ships. I don't think projects are going to be canceled because of that. No.
Interesting. Well, so we've got some good projects out there. We have projects underway, and we'll still see some.
There will still be some. We're not going to shut down completely. I don't envision a depression, I'm not. Although I have a degree in economics, I'm not an economist. I might say a recession could be in our future, unnecessarily.
Unnecessarily. I understand. Um, okay, so any last thoughts?
Um, no, I think this is the 25th. Is it the 20th anniversary?
20th
20th anniversary of
Breakbulk.
Breakbulk
Yes,
Europe.
it
So
is.
I'm happy to see it have grown. It just grew so much. So the first one in the Hilton Hotel in
Were you there?
Shorp. Yes, I was there, and
Okay.
I think expected to have 300 people and had 900 instead, or something like that. So it grew. I think it was only 1 year in the Hilton, and then it went to the
That's
Expo.
exactly right. Yes.
But I think I've been to most of them. I may have missed one or two, but I think I've been to most of them over the years. So I'm just happy to see it continue. Happy to see how successful it is, and yeah, happy to be here.
Well, we are so happy you're here too. And I think we've got a great turnout this year. Certainly is off to a big start. And I've heard positive things about starting earlier today, making this more of a full day. Do you like it?
I do. I would like to see Thursday be a little bit more of a real day as well, because I'd like to see it last longer. I'm always disappointed when people leave early because I like it. I think it's a great conference. It takes a lot of time to get here. It's like a lot of effort to make all these stands and booths. I'd like to see it last as long as possible. Not all week, but for me,
Yeah.
3 days. So I like the early start. I would like to see Thursday be more robust.
One step at a time.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Well,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
Okay.